Welcome, everybody, back to the podcast this week. This is going to be a special episode because we have a gift here. It's the week before Valentine's, and this gift is incredible. It's amazing. It's awesome. It is, what other words can we use, guys?
Useful.
Useful.
Yeah.
It's romantic.
Oh,
It's romantic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said sexy.
Sexy?
See, it is.
This is one of the few weeks that I actually know what the gift is because it's specifically for Lisa. Do you want to do the honors this week? Now, don't open it yet.
Oh, okay.
You got to hold on to it for a while. But hey, we're going to do a gift of the week. But hey, shh, It Matters podcast is about to start. And this week, you're going to learn more about us. We decided that, you just need to know more about us. That's kind of what we wanted to do.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff that happened in the news, and the show is kind of like, hey, be quiet. Let's hear each other out and find out what's going on in the news, how it affected us, and things like that. But this week, we wanted to give you more about us rather than all the craziness that's going on in the news, all of the incredible things that are going on in the news. But for Valentine's Day episode, we are actually going to really talk about some heartwarming stories, whether that be about, kids rescued in the ice or, whatever it is. But that's what's coming at you next week for the actual Valentine's Day episode. But let's get to know you, Craig. Let's get to know you, Martha May. Let's get to know you, Harmony. And Lisa?
I'm an open book.
We don't want to know anything.
I'm so an open book.
So last week I said chilling, and, it's a little warmer in here right now. I had to put a sweatshirt on, though, this week. Martha May doesn't like the heat turned up. She's so hot, she says.
I got my socks off. Wait.
You go, girl.
I got my socks off.
So we already know that about Martha May.
Well.
I love it.
She gets comfortable. She makes herself at home.
But we are chilling. We are chilling. My name's Matt Logan, and you can find me everywhere at Matt Logan Speaks, including Parler. Oh, wait, Parler's shut down.
Yeah.
Did it
Where can we
again.
find you?
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Salt and Pepper Photography. That's my main place to find me. But if not, Lisa Lingle. I'm there.
Awesome.
Harmony Sage, you can always find me on Facebook.
And chilling in the hot way.
Martha May Cacciati on Facebook.
And Craig Ugland on Facebook and Instagram.
And we end the episode. We know everything there is to know now,
Yep.
right?
That's right.
Good night.
Yep.
Sweet.
Thanks for having us.
Good night. Do tell.
This could really go deep and crazy because we have a lot of fun hanging out. One of the things that I want to do with this is I want to have some of that behind the scenes, what do we want to call it? Behind the scenes craziness, really. Fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
What other adjectives can we use?
Well, we kind of just let our guard down, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not so prim and proper. Prim and proper kind of thing. And we're just more to ourselves.
Yeah.
Casual.
We're not to ourselves. We're more
Of ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah. More.
Yeah.
Of ourselves. Yes. Thank you.
I think it's strange when you meet somebody you either connect or you don't connect. And
Yeah.
I have known you for years. I've known Martha May for years, and I haven't known Harmony or Craig, but I feel like I have. I feel like I've known you guys for years, and it's just this amazing group, and I am so proud to be part of it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I've actually known everybody except Matt. Lisa was pregnant with her youngest one when I worked at Econo Foods and did wedding flowers, and we networked together. Craig, I had done some Patriot Guard things with, and Harmony, she had taken care of my mom and dad in Winona. So, Matt, you're like the newest one of the bunch here. So
I'm the newest one.
Boss, you're the
and
newest
I'm yet
one.
the one that started it all.
Yeah, you're the newest one, the boss.
As far
Yeah.
as this goes, yeah.
Yeah.
And the first text, the group text that I sent out, I'm like, I gotta call the group something. I'm like, I just feel like we're a bunch of misfits, and it kind of stuck, right?
yes.
I love
it. Yes.
So now I called you guys the misfits, and now we call each other the misfits.
We greet each other in the morning.
I know,
Good
right?
morning. And we're like, hello, misfits.
It is good.
We look forward
it is
to
good.
it, yeah.
So, hey, thanks for joining us again on this About episode. We're just digging in again to learn more about each other, and we would love to hear from you. Comment, share a little bit about yourself, why you're listening. the reason I started the group too, a little bit about me is that I like talking to friends about kind of what's going on, and here's how this affected me. A buddy of mine yesterday, we text a little bit about some things that are a little bit deeper in my life, and so I just appreciate that about friends and that kind of that connection and fellowship, right? So I thought, why don't we share that? Why don't we put that out there in the world and have everybody just listen to what we think and how we act and whatever else, because our opinions matter, because we're working class people.
Right.
We are really in the trenches, and there's more of us than there are of the other, right?
Boots on the ground, you call this. Boots
Exactly,
on the ground.
boots on
little
the ground.
grit, a little grit.
Yeah. Craig, Martha May mentioned the Patriots. Talk about a little bit about what you do there.
Yeah, so the Patriot Guard Riders is something I joined in 2006 when it was first forming nationally. I had a vendor come into my office, and he talked about he was at a funeral for a soldier that was killed in Iraq at the time, and how these protesters were coming to the funeral and saying inappropriate things. And I'm like, this isn't right. And I looked it up and researched it, and I knew it was something that I had to do. I'm not a veteran. I wasn't able to serve due to disability, but this was my way to give back. And a year or two after that, I think Martha May's son was coming home from a tour.
Yeah, 2008. 2008, he came back from Iraq and sent it off to Afghanistan, and we met again.
Yep. So a couple of years after I joined the Patriot Guard, we were doing send-offs in local homes as well, and that's where Martha May and I met. And it's that
Cool.
involvement with the Patriot Guard has really kind of redirected my focus on life of supporting our veterans, and then community involvement and helping out with specifically our veterans and our active duty in the community, but just our community in a whole. And it's been a passion, and I have opinions on things, but I like to also hear other people's opinions and try and keep an open mind about stuff. But yeah, so that's how Martha May and I met, and then everybody else is new faces to me.
So I have the question, the Patriot Guard, is that something local?
It's a national organization, and Minnesota has our own chapter per se, and we just did that so that we can keep donations in the state of Minnesota. And I'm actually our current state captain, so I oversee our day-to-day
Nice.
Good for you.
missions. So we do 350 or 400 funerals and send off some local homes a year, and I kind of oversee all the different areas of the state. And
I'm
that.
still getting
Metro.
to know Craig more, but I feel like you're being so modest when you're talking right now, because I can see it in your heart. Your heart is so pure, and I can just tell that you do so much more than you're coming across. You're like, oh, we do this. No, I can tell there's so much more to what you do.
And that was, my very first mission was in Welcome, Minnesota, so west of here. And I had said, and this is where I met a mutual friend of ours, and I said, I'm just a guy holding the flag. And he said, no, you're why we are what we are. It's not the flag
I
that
can
you
see
hold,
that
it's the
in you.
person
That's-
holding the flag. And we've
yes.
always been very modest, so it's not about us. It's about that soldier that's in the coffin.
Mm-hmm.
So we've always
That-
been very humble.
Can I pause you a second? That reminds me of last week's episode, because we talked about Bill Gates and all the giving that he was doing, and that just a thought popped into my mind. He's hollering, "Here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm doing. I'm giving. I'm doing." And that to me isn't really part of actually giving.
No.
Giving is doing it when no one's looking, when you don't care if the media is there, when you don't need to say what's going on, and that's very admirable. So thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Craig.
you,
Yeah.
Craig.
It's
So
Yeah.
so continue. I didn't mean that, but that just popped
I
into
thought
my
it
head.
deserved a thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that
appreciate
about you, so.
Yep. So, and it's, for people that don't know, I ran for city council last year, and it was a very different experience because I've always been about what we're doing for other people, and I had to talk about what I do, and it was just a different kind of way to go about life. I'm just not used to talking about myself, and it was tough because you see stuff on social media and not all it's positive, and just trying to ignore the negative Nellies and knowing that we do what we do for our own reasons, and other people that may second guess that can pound sand. So,
Exactly.
but yeah, and that's kind of steered me into some other organizations in town, and that idea of doing for others, not for yourself, has kind of carried through in all those different groups. And I think that's it's a good way to live life, and it's hard to pat yourself on the back. Or it's hard for me to pat myself on the back. So the campaign stuff was really hard because you have to talk about yourself and what you do, and that's not my personality.
Yeah.
So, but it's fun to be able to come on here and share your experiences with other people and your opinions, and hopefully people want to hear what our opinions are, and we'll find out.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, that's kind of stirred my life for the last 15 years.
And what I appreciate about you, Craig, is when we first met, that modesty and that giving, and I had to really pry on some of those things and get some of that out of you, and that's the sign of a real, true, deep character for community. And I really
Humble.
appreciate,
Humble
very
person.
humble.
Tried. Yeah.
And so that I really appreciate that about you. But what I have learned in the last few weeks as we've done this is the motto that I came up with, escape the echo chamber, how you resonate that, very well. And that is like, you're interested in listening to other opinions a lot more so than you are in actually inserting your own. And I think that's so important, and that's something that's missing in the world today is that it's that those people that listen, and that you can say, well, hey, here's what I think, but I understand where you're coming from, so where can we meet?
Right.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And that's exactly it, is you're never the smartest person in the room, and your opinion is not always right. At least give other people an opportunity to express their thoughts, and
Yeah.
you're going to learn something. Whether you agree with it or not, you might learn of somebody else's viewpoint. And I see that a lot with all the political stuff going on is, oh gosh, I never thought about it that way. And I can see why somebody believes in what they do, because this is what they've seen. And they don't watch the same stuff or read the same stuff that I do. So I think it's good to have an open mind on most everything in life.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Harmony, you were pretty shocked that I asked you to interview
Yeah.
And
you mean for this?
for this.
Yeah, well, you did catch me off guard. You
Yeah.
called me on New Year's Eve, if I recall.
I sent you a
and
message.
you left a message.
Yeah.
And I will tell you this, I purposely waited a day to call you back. I sort of had an idea why you were calling me, but I wanted it to register. And I'm like, is this happening? Is this really happening? And then I thought, okay. So and then I think I called you back, or we scheduled to have that phone call. And I was, if anything, I was super flattered. I sort of have always seen this for my future, to be quite honest with you. I've always seen myself doing motivational speaking or just being in that kind of arena, I guess you say, and I knew it'd always be baby steps. So I was flattered. I was very flattered, and I didn't even know who my co-hosts were going to be, and I already knew I was going to accept this position. But it's been amazing. It's been amazing, and it's been such a beautiful surprise, because with Lisa Lingle over here, we've been friends on Facebook, and I've been dying to meet her. Well, I got to meet her. Craig was probably the newest one for me.
Is that why you guys sat by each other? The first, we did that
Like,
pilot
we-
episode.
No, it's based on color.
I
Remember the
don't
first
know.
episode was color.
It's just funny. And here's the thing about it is, even when I first arrived for our first time doing some taping, and Lisa was already here, it took me a second to be like, oh, that's Lisa. I was like, oh my God, I've been dying to meet you. And it was just kind of amazing how it worked out. And then with Craig, he's my newest one. So it's been beautiful. And then Martha May was a 6 degrees of separation. Years ago, I took care of her mom and dad. And yeah, so it's been years, and it was just kind of a neat, beautiful connection. And her father has passed, and one of the things I love about Martha May is that she reminds me so much of her father. I can say that. I know her. I think I almost feel like I know your father more than you.
Yeah.
And he was such a supporter of politics, and he was so fierce, and he had such passion, and I admired that about him, where maybe, say, some others might be, sort of taken back by that. But I've always admired anybody that has passion for something and they go forth with it, and your father was very much like that. And I
Thanks,
see
girl.
that in you, and I admire that as well.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Harmony, what I appreciate about you is that you actually did, and is it okay if I say how we kind of
How we met?
Yeah, how we got
Connected?
involved with podcasting.
Sure, please.
Is that
go
okay?
ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So you did a mock podcast with me,
Mm-hmm.
and that put you in the running that my team then picked a co-host on a different podcast. That's how we got to know our communication style.
Yes.
And what I appreciate about you in that was, I think that was like an hour and a half long, that mock podcast. We
Yeah.
we just rapped for a long time. But then as we started to feel a little bit more comfortable with each other, you started sharing a little bit more of your viewpoints on things. And then I kind of pushed back. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And I pushed back on you a little bit.
I say it
and-
like that because I remember how nervous I was for it, although I appreciate that you're like, you handled it really well, and inside I'm dying. But yeah, I remember it.
And I just pushed back because I think whenever we can push on somebody a little bit, our true self is revealed.
For sure.
And you handled it brilliantly. You and I don't agree on certain things. We knew that day.
Yep.
But that doesn't matter. At the end of it, at the end of the conversation, it was brilliant how we got along, and it's brilliant that I believe we're extremely respectful of each other and each other's opinions.
Yeah.
And that's what I appreciate about you, is because so many people get in that echo chamber, and where it's their way or no way.
Right.
And
They're
that's
sort of
not
set
how you're
in
not.
their ways.
Yeah. But you were very expressive on your opinion and the way you thought and the way you believe. And that's perfect. That's what this is about.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate that so much, because one of my biggest things, as Craig was saying, is I find it very important to put yourself in someone else's shoes and to consider everybody else's perspective, and to be mindful that it doesn't mean that it's what you feel or your opinion or that's what's so. It's just being open-minded and learning something in the process and enjoying one's company. It's really how you look at it. And I enjoyed the process with you. Doing that mock podcast, it took a lot of courage over comfort to do that. I've talked about this before. I almost chickened out. It was like the night before I was supposed to do the video to send in, and I was so hard on myself. I'm like, do it. You need to do this. It was the night before, and I'm like, I woke up early the next morning. I got dressed. I did my makeup. I'm like, you're doing it. It was like 6 in the morning. If you were to go back and you see, it was sort of dark. It was I'm literally in a corner, 6:30 in the morning, knowing it. I think it was the day of. I needed to submit it, and I'm just like, listen, this is like, if it doesn't get any more perfect than this. This is courage over comfort, because I have stage fright. I think it's good to know. I do. Every Friday before I come here, my anxiety is through the roof, and I try to handle it in the best way I can, but it's just the truth. It is. And so for me, that was a huge thing for me as well, to be able to accomplish that, complete it. And so it was very much a pat on the back for myself. And so again, it was super flattering that you called me and you wanted me to be a part of this. Yeah, I love it.
Good job.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. We're down to 2.
Oh boy.
Should we battle it out, Lisa?
Right? I'm feeling an arm wrestle, girl.
Should we battle it out?
Let's do it.
Nails against nails.
Over
Hey,
the
we both have
top.
blue.
Remember that movie? Over the top.
Hey, that's a trucking movie.
Yeah.
That's a trucking
I bring
movie.
gifts, girl.
Yeah.
That's a trucking movie. I'm
Yeah.
a trucking daughter. Come on, let's
The,
do it.
great
the
movie.
Valentine's gift has to wait till the end.
I know,
We
but-
got to do that at the end.
I get it.
Yeah, over the top, right? Let's do it. Come on.
Come on, Lisa.
We can do it.
Right here.
Kick your butt, girl.
Gotta
Oh
take
my
the
gosh.
other arm. No, this is Sylvester
You-
Stallone.
Right?
Sylvester
Yeah.
Stallone and over the top. I'm a trucking
You do
daughter. I know
remember
this.
the whole
Yeah.
over the top, right?
You gotta take the other one. Give me the other one.
Don't.
Hey, my chest is on the table.
All right.
The
3,
choir.
2, go.
Oh my god.
You guys are about even there. Look at
Oh my
that.
god.
I love it. I don't know. I kind of want to do it now.
My chest was on the table.
I got really small wrists, but
I love Martha May.
That was a good movie.
So you reached out to me, and you had you're very passionate about politics, and
Really, anything I do. I mean, I think that is a very vital trait. My personality is my passion. I mean, do it big, go big or go home kind of thing, all the way with Martha May, as I would say. Where there's
Wait,
a will.
like
No.
that's the different podcast. Martha May.
No, come on now.
PG.
Where there's a will, there's a way with Martha May. That's my philosophy.
That's yeah. Okay.
I like
yeah,
that.
yeah. But passion is important. Just have it in your heart, and it just comes to you naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we spoke, you thought that this was going to be more of a political show. You remember that conversation?
Well, I didn't really know. Obviously, we can't. Well, we could talk about politics every week, but dynamics and things were changing. So, I started in high school with journalism and broadcast and different things like that. So obviously, this is something that's coming full circle for me. That I'm very flattered with the opportunity to be able to do. It's great, having us look at different options instead of just looking in the straight same tunnel that we've always been. Obviously, people know where my head and heart is politically, aligned and different things like that, and what I've helped campaign for. And even speaking to my dad, growing up, my dad was a trucker. He fought on Capitol Hill back in the 70s to fight for the independent truckers. I mean, with Gerald Ford, different things like that. It was all about red, white, and blue. We stand, divided, we fall. I grew up with that, looking at him, talk about walking into a room, I'm skipping school. I'm in third grade and I'm skipping school, and the next day, my mom writes me a note. Next day, my dad and I are on the front page of Associated Press, Newsweek, Good Morning America, The Today Show, and my dad's with the 33% tax cut bill they're campaigning for. Anyways, needless to say, my mom had to tell them I wasn't homesick. I wasn't homesick after we're on the front page of the Winona paper and made Associated Press and all that, and everything like that. So I looked up to him for fighting for the little guy and fighting for kind of what was right.
Yeah.
I'm a patriot. I met Craig and different things like that, but my two sons are Marines. They're veterans now, and as I say, I went through 4 deployments, hence all this gray hair. But the oldest one did Iraq and Afghanistan. The other one did the deployment overseas and everything. So my nephew is still in. He's a Marine. My son-in-law is a deputy. So I'm all about our patriots, our peacekeepers, honoring them and supporting our true people who take an oath to defend our country and their freedoms. It's important for me to stand up for that. I am very passionate. It's kind of an all or nothing kind of deal with me. Some people would say I'm kind of like Trump. I kind of like, and I just say that because it's kind of, I'm a Trumpian, I mean, speaking of that, I did a lot of things in the last couple of years with the campaign and Front Row Joe and being front row at the rallies. I mean, that was something that filled a void in my life for the last year, and now even after the campaign and election and inauguration and everything, that I've had to find different things to fill my time with because, that took up a lot of time, and it's exciting, energizing other people and getting them wrapped up into, just even doing flag waving. I mean, how simple and easy that can be, let alone to show your passion, and how an event so simple like that in the last couple of years has come, to be such a big event. And you guys don't know it, but I have a cowbell, and I'm known as Cowbell Kashadi. And some people, the bad guys, have bull horns and different things like that, and I have a cowbell, and it's like everybody's like, we need more cowbell, we need more cowbell.
I love that.
Yeah, it's great, and it's blue, and I wear my red, white, and blue stuff, and I kind of started. I have a couple of nephews that race, and 14, 12, and 10, and they'll be in. Mark my word, they'll be NASCAR someday. Teddy, Josiah, and Jackson, they will be. Anyways, I'm Auntie, the proud aunt. Well, they couldn't hear me yelling at them. Obviously, they're in the race car with their helmets. So anyways, I came up with this cowbell. So I'm at the end on turn 3, cheering them on. And every time they're done, I'm like, could you hear me? Could you hear me? And they're like, no. I'm like, I got to get louder. I got to get louder then. So I'm kind of a, loud and proud aunt with that as well,
Yeah.
and different things. And even my grandsons that have motocross, it's down in Nashville, and they called me the yodeling mom. Well, that's a compliment to me because I'm a grandma, but grandma of 7 and one more. But yodeling, I'm like, I'm from Minnesota. I don't yodel. I just yell out. So, anyways,
What I appreciate about you, and the reason that I asked you to be involved is that passion, right? And that passion I knew would find a home because our passions it's part of our life. They navigate, we're continually winding around, but if you're a passionate person, you will take that passion and apply it to what's in front of you. And I knew that you would do that. I pushed you probably the hardest on a couple of things in our conversation, because I felt like I wanted you to understand how important it was, like, to get out of that echo chamber. And I think you know what I mean. And I don't mean that in disrespect.
Right.
I mean that in the utmost respect, because that passion sometimes also can blind us.
Right.
And you responded brilliantly to it, and I appreciate that about you. You were like, yeah, no, I get it. I get what you're saying. And that's why that passion is so powerful that you have, because you were able to take that passion and take a step back from what you were involved with at that time.
Sure.
And that passion could be redirected, and you understood how important that was.
Right.
And that's powerful.
Right. I
That's
think
powerful.
that's flexibility. I mean, it's so easy to get in a tunnel or in a zone, compared to looking at the big picture, or being too narrow-minded and looking at only the details. But a lot of times when you are a big picture person, it's easier to look at different angles,
Yeah.
Especially coming here. I mean, all of us have, put a different light or spin on some different things too.
Absolutely.
And picking topics, like you said, it's not going to be all about rallies and protests, forever kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I think that's been great to pick out some different topics. Obviously things that or even opening your mind up to different things too, the news as we used to know it, like you spoke of, the news as we used to know it, and that's the other thing. I'm an old school journalist. Who, what, where, when, why, and how, is kind of what we were taught to report. Now there's so much editorial or spin on everything.
Yeah,
for
it's
what
too
sells.
much opinion.
Yeah, or what sells.
And rage bait and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, for what sells. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could tell you a million wonderful things about Martha May.
Well, and the
But
thing,
less than 2 weeks ago, I gotta tell you.
the thing too about that what we're doing here is we will be able to unveil all 1 million of those things
Right.
about Martha May
Yeah, right. I mean, 2
over
weeks ago,
time.
2 weeks ago on Friday night, we met at the airport, and there
Oh,
was a
yeah.
guy coming home from deployment,
Oh yeah.
and I loved it, and I'm crying. Everybody's crying. I mean, he comes home and all this stuff, and shaking hands and hugging mom and dad and grandma, and Martha's there, and Martha May, you don't know me. Here's some balloons, and thanks for what you do.
And it was a friend's son. Yeah, it was a
That's
friend's son,
my
and I knew
friend.
how much it meant
Yeah.
to record that moment for them. They're wrapped up
Yeah.
into the excitement of everything, and I'm standing back there getting the whole big picture of it and everything. It went on Fox and Friends the next day, just so you know.
Oh, that's awesome.
But
Pete
That's
Hegseth.
awesome.
The point
Pete
being,
Hegseth had it.
there was nothing for her to benefit.
No,
she showed up with
no.
the balloons, and she was there, and it was
Yeah, the
amazing.
young man comes up, and I'm like, "Hey, I don't know you, but
Yeah.
great hug. Thanks for coming home,
Yeah.
and serving
Yeah.
our country." I mean, that's I mean, that is cool stuff. It is
was cool.
very humbling, to be part of different things like that and stuff. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I mean,
awesome.
I like doing, events, obviously, and things like that are exciting. Just a little bit quick. So my dad was a truck driver, but my mom is legally blind, and I give my mom my credit for my think out of the box, be independent. The wow factor. I'm a lot about the wow factor. Some people are a little more submissive, and I'm about the wow factor. But my mom, growing up, my mom taught us to be creative. Think how somebody else could do it, doing reports. I remember one time a report was on Australia, and I brought in a can of beer, Australian beer. Of course, it was sealed in a little kangaroo thing. And then that was my report, and the whole little report was wrapped up in there. Or a cookie of Wisconsin, and drawn in frosting. Like, just being creative and thinking out of the box. Like, oh, nobody else would do that. We're in 4-H. We did a lot of things. So, it's important for me, my grandkids and things like that, too, to think of how can you make a difference and, just be different. Be shiny, as you would say.
Be shiny. That's
Yeah,
right.
be shiny.
It's cool.
Literally shiny.
Yeah.
Literally shiny.
Lisa, should we open the gift and the
We
leaf?
should. We should.
And not
Lisa.
talk about you?
I'm okay with that. I don't need to be front and center.
No, we're not going to open it.
Lisa, you got
We
to
almost
It's a
ruined the
joke.
good surprise.
we want to. You're getting front and center. We're
Yeah.
happy about
I
you.
was.
Lisa.
Yeah.
So I met Lisa, was it 16 years ago?
It was a long time ago.
Something like
Yeah.
that for the first
Wow.
time?
I was too.
I was 18. Looking good, girl.
You brought your kids in for a photo op.
I did.
Yeah.
Yes, Logan for yes. Yeah, Miracle Mile.
That's back in
Logan
the good old
Furniture.
days when I was in the furniture business.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we go back a ways. And I picked you because you threatened me.
I did?
Yeah, you said that I've known you a long time. I have all this dirt on you, and so I want to be on the show. Isn't that how it went?
Kind of. Yeah. You might have twisted a few words
Lisa's
there.
way. Lisa's
right?
way, yeah.
You were probably the most reluctant of the group.
Really?
Yeah, you were. Do you remember the conversations?
I do. I
Yeah.
totally remember it. I get nervous. I do. I mean, I act all like, hey, whatever.
Yeah, let's do this.
What,
Nah.
let's talk about
Takes a little more.
Yeah, and
but
you
I
said,
do.
well, what do I know about anything?
I'm just a farm girl from Iowa.
Yeah,
That's it.
exactly. And I said, that's exactly the point. Because we all think,
Iowa.
right? We all think differently. Our opinions do matter, and so many times out in the world, people, I feel like everyone sitting at the table, our opinions are frankly crushed, and if we aren't, if we don't do the rage bait and some of those kinds of things and do it over the top, that it just doesn't matter, and it does. It really
Totally
does.
matters.
So tell us about, you 31 years.
I know. Last year was a little bit
You've
of a
been-
doozy, let me
You've
tell
been
you.
doing the same old boring thing.
I know. It's so boring. Photography, like weddings and babies and
Oh.
business stuff. And I'm so blessed. I am blessed beyond blessed. I love what I do. I met so many amazing people along my career. I feel like I want to give back to the community. I love the community we live in. I totally love. I'm not toot my own horn here, but I'm a chamber member. I'm a chamber ambassador. I'm an Elks member. I'm a Bethel Lutheran Church member. I just absolutely love our community and very proud of that. Very proud of the community we live in.
And you had said, you're like, I don't know anything about all the stuff that goes on in the world. And my opinion, you kept coming back to that. And, those things that you do and what you give back to the community is so crucial to all communities.
Like Craig said, nobody wants to toot their own horn. I just feel like I'm just being me. And it's what I taught my parents. I'm so blessed, beyond blessed of having parents that taught me good skills, and I don't need to be recognized for something. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
You take the high road and you pay it forward when you can, and I don't need anything in return. I can look myself in the mirror at night and know I did the right thing.
Right.
You sleep
And
good. Don't
I
you?
sleep
Amen.
good.
You sleep really well.
Yes,
Amen.
because it's the right thing to
Right.
do.
The
And
takers eat well.
Yes.
Is that the givers?
I don't
sleep
do
well?
Yeah,
things
something
because
like
I want
that,
to
yeah.
benefit from it. I do
Yeah.
things because that's how I feel good at night, and I feel like I did the right thing. And it's how I want to be treated. I treat people like how I want to be treated, and plain and simple. It's really that simple.
It
This
is.
whole life thing is so people overrate it. It's like it's really not that hard. It's not. Just treat people how you want. We learned this stuff in kindergarten,
Right.
even in Iowa.
Yeah.
Even in Iowa, we did learn this in kindergarten. And it's that simple.
Poor
you know?
Iowa. I got to tell you, I lived in Iowa for a short period of time when I was a kid. Cedar Rapids. So, and I grew up in a lot of places. Born in California, I always say raised everywhere. So, I always feel bad that the Midwest and in certain states kind of get in a way a little bit of a bad rap. Iowa's pretty great. I mean,
I was pretty great.
yeah,
Pretty
I mean,
awesome.
You got to.
Go
I'm sure. I'm
Bluebird.
imagining you had a pretty healthy upbringing. I mean, I can't say.
My dad is 85. He's still farming. My mom was 82. They're still both actively throwing down hay.
Lisa,
have
tell
nothing
everybody
but-
what your parents did last year for their wedding anniversary.
Is that politically correct to say? It's how it was advertised.
Yeah.
Micro wrestling.
Wrestling.
We
She
went
took
for-
her parents
to
on
their
their
60th
on their
wedding
60th
anniversary.
wedding anniversary
Yes.
to
Yes.
micro wrestling.
And we
Front
used to-
row.
Yeah.
Does that mean tiny? Tiny
That was
wrestling?
we're
Yeah.
very tiny.
Yeah,
Like,
they're
Mario
lap
Brothers.
size. They're lap
you gotta-
size.
You gotta think outside the box in life. I mean, honestly, like Matt said, 30 years. I was so excited. I spent all this money on TV advertising in January and February, and in March the pandemic hit, and I'm like, holy moly, what am I gonna do? And I normally do about 32 weddings. I photograph about 32 weddings. I did 3, and I got frustrated. Should I give up? I'm like, no. Think outside the box. Let's do some crazy stuff. So I had I had nothing growing up, but I had everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if that makes sense.
That does
Yeah.
make sense.
It
Yeah.
is,
Yeah,
it's very
completely.
powerful.
I think
And,
that's why we're all here. Yeah, we all
Yeah.
can relate to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's me.
One of the things that you had said to me too is, I'm not high profile enough. I might be saying it wrong. You remember that? You were like, I'm not, or maybe important.
I don't remember that. No,
I don't think that
do
got on
remember
camera,
that. I do
but-
remember that. I just,
Maybe
But
she's
yeah.
I'm
fine
I'm
with
not,
it.
I pay it forward
It-
because it makes me feel good in my heart.
And that is
Yeah.
exactly why it's
don't-
important to do what we're doing, I feel, is because that's the attitude. I think that everybody maybe verbalizes different, but that's the attitude that everybody here, I think, has.
And I would have to agree with
That's
that.
what I appreciate about you is that attitude of just, hey, I'm nobody. I'm not important. My opinion doesn't matter, but yet it does, and that's really crucial.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You ready for a gift?
For me?
No.
Oh, darn it. I got excited.
All right,
Open
here's the
it.
thing. This gift is a national gift, but it's for a local restaurant and a local pedicure. So it's a couple's pedicure. And what I'm going to do is,
You spoiled the surprise.
no,
What?
She didn't
You
get to
kind of
open it.
did.
I had to tell
He
her.
already said it.
I had said at the beginning. You guys listening?
I
Yeah.
was.
What?
We're listening.
What?
Yeah, I said it at the beginning. I wanted people to know what we're up to today. This is like big.
This is huge.
It's $150
This is the biggest thing I've had in my
value.
hands.
No excuses.
Give it to me.
All I gotta
Give it
say,
to me.
if a gentleman
Give
wins
it to
this,
me.
no excuses for Valentine's Day.
No excuses.
Just
Yes.
no.
Wait.
So this is the week before Valentine's Day, obviously, and what you need to do is text 507-944-7395, and the word that you have to text is
Kinky.
kinky.
Come on, Craig. Come on, Craig. Woo! Woo! Kinky blue. Kinky blue.
The word that you have
Kinky
to
blue.
text in
I'm
is
just all-
kinky.
I'm excited.
Kinky
and,
blue.
And that mean no, not
Wait a
kinky
minute,
blue.
this is
Just
Oh,
kinky.
kinky. All
Just
right.
kinky.
That's my
Just
favorite.
kinky.
Kinky blue.
And you're gonna get a petty. Open it.
Okay.
Read
Oh, it's
it.
moving.
Well, quick.
Can't wait.
You can read it off.
Right? That's huge. This is a great gift.
It's
Who would
Text
not tune in
kinky.
and watch this podcast?
Exactly.
I mean,
Text
honestly,
kinky.
every
You know,
week we have a gift.
I may be from Iowa, but seriously, this is the podcast not to miss.
Absolutely.
Seriously.
Text
We,
kinky.
I hope
we're
all of
very
Iowa's
grateful
listening
for
to
you,
this.
the listeners and the viewers, and that's why I give away a gift every single week. We just really
Yeah, every
appreciate
week.
that.
Tell them
every
to
week.
share it with their friends, Matt.
I
Tell
don't
'em to
know
share it.
many
Yeah,
other
share it.
podcasts,
We're
by the
gonna
way, that do this.
Play a video.
Right.
They
Yeah,
give away
I
gifts.
don't know.
I'm just
maybe
saying.
there's none. I don't know. Go for it. You can read it off.
Oh my god. All right, ready?
I kind of told them already.
Okay.
Okay.
Go.
The gift of the week is a couple's petty. A $75 value plus a local restaurant of your choice. That's pretty flippin' cool.
That's
a
great.
restaurant of your choice for $75?
Nice.
That's a lot. That's a
Nice.
lot
And the
of
petty
that's
valued
together,
at 75.
That's amazing. That's just
75
like
bucks.
amazing.
So
gift.
text in the word kinky to 507-944-7395, or you can also email it to us. The word is kinky at hello@mattloganspeaks.com, and we will
Nice.
enter you to win at 8 p.m. You need to do it at 8 p.m. by 8 p.m. on Monday to win the prize. Kinky, 507-944-7395. Shout out Martha May.
Woo! Shout out. No. Martha May Cacciati on Facebook. Thank you.
Thanks for chilling in a hot way.
Yep. She's hot blooded.
That's right.
Chilling also tonight is
And
Craig.
single. Wait. And single. And single.
Does she qualify for the kinky?
I am the kinky. Wait. No.
you want
Don't
my
tell my
bowl?
mom that. Don't tell my mom that.
I feel like we have a spokeswoman for kinky. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh,
Sorry.
goodness.
Craig is chilling.
Yeah.
How do we find you, sir?
Craig Bugland on Facebook and Instagram.
And Miss Harmony is chilling like a villain.
I'm always chilling like a villain. You can find me, Harmony Sage, on Facebook.
And Lisa.
I have to say, I go by my middle name, so it's Lisa Ann Lingle on Facebook. If you're going to find me, Lisa Ann Lingle on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or Salt and Pepper Photography.
Very nice.
And I am Matt Logan, your host. Find me everywhere at Matt Logan Speaks. even on Parler that is currently. I'm just going to keep using
You're
it.
just gonna keep
Rebel
saying
you.
that,
I
right?
want Parler to come back because I just think it's completely wrong that someone can be shut down
That's right.
quite arbitrarily
Censorship.
like that. But anyway, find me at Matt Logan Speaks everywhere. Minds, Gab, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of them. See you next week. Hey, a lot of people have asked how they can support the work we're doing here at Matt Logan Speaks. Well, you see this hammer that I got in my hand? It's pretty big. All you have to do is hammer the share button. Go ahead and hammer out a comment to us. Go ahead and hammer the like button. Go ahead and hammer the subscription button. Go ahead and hammer the notification bell so that when we have new content up, you're the first to know about it. We really appreciate the comments, shares, likes, because you know what? That's the best way you can support us, because the algorithms on all these fancy computers, that's what they need. We appreciate it.